Okay, I'm back now. So yeah, so like, y'all's dad would like always be worried about what I was doing. And that right there would get on my nerves. Like that kind of caused me to break down too. It was like, he would, like I said in the last clips, he would go to work and things like that, and he really didn't make that much money, you know. But he would go to work and stuff like that. But like the money he would get, he would drink it all up. That's what we were doing. Just drinking all the money up, basically. And but yeah, I remember him, always harassing me, stalking me. He was obsessed with me, and I'm gonna tell you why. So when that was going on, Victoria and Sabrina and Trina and Donald, I remember I ended up just getting up and I took off. And I'm not going to say what state I moved to because of privacy reasons. Um, because the reason why I don't want to mention the city I moved to is because that's when I started using the hard drugs like the crack cocaine. Um, so yeah. So when I start talking about, from 26 to 20 to 32, I'm pretty much not going to speak about, you know, the jobs I worked at and things like that because, it's just for privacy reasons. And yeah, um, so like so I ended up taking off, y'all. And I'm thinking, okay, now I probably can get a break from him, from y'all's dad. So I remember I was, I moved away, and I was only like probably 45 minutes away, like 45-minute drive. And I remember I hadn't even, like given up on y'all or anything like that. I just needed a break from everything and from y'all's dad too. And so I remember when I moved to a different city, I it was like I kind of like I wanted to start all over, with my life. And you know, y'all were in a different city, right, from where we're from. And I just, I hate to say it, I just pretty much forgot about like everything. Like forgot about y'all, like forgot about, I just wanted to get away. I was just so, just so stressed out from y'all's dad, stopping me and just wouldn't leave me alone. Like, I have to throw that in there because that's what was going on. And so, and I think what happened was, because I never gave y'all up. I never gave y'all up for an adoption. But when the way the adoption took place was because I took off, I never looked back. But y'all's dad was still, I guess, yeah, I do remember he was still, checking up on y'all, and he was visiting y'all even after y'all got adopted out. Because I remember this. I remember him telling me this, and just, from people talking. And, I remember that, from family members telling me that he would go and see y'all, and he probably have told y'all this as well. But I don't know if he ever tried to actually get y'all back or get any family members on his side to get y'all. I really don't know anything about that, but all I know is I took off, and it was like I wanted to be away from him, because like I said, I was still angry with him. I was just still angry with y'all's dad. I didn't even want to look at this man. And keep in mind, I was still drinking. So when I moved to a different city, I remember, I had got me a place, and I actually started working. I was working. I was still drinking. Um, I don't know if I don't think I was drinking as heavy like I was with y'all's dad, but I do remember I would still drink. Um, I couldn't drink that heavy, I guess, because I started working. I remember I was working. So I was there, and then the next thing you know, guess who shows up at my door? Y'all's dad. And if y'all's dad is being honest, he will tell y'all that he showed up at my door, and that's what it was. And guess what happened after after that, y'all? I remember this dude lived up over me. I lived downstairs, and this guy lived up over me. So me and Donald, we didn't really like get back together, but he moved upstairs from me and was staying upstairs. I can't remember how he found out where I stayed at. I don't know if I told him or maybe told somebody in the family where I lived at, and only he could tell you. He might be able to remember. Oh my goodness. So one thing led to another. Y'all's dad was staying up over me. He had literally got up and moved where I was at. Same house and everything. Same city, same house. And that's what happened. And I'm not sure if he stayed, because he moved in with the guy that lived over me. And we would all get together, and then I started actually hanging with your dad and the guy upstairs, and it would be all three of us sometimes getting together, still drinking. It was just crazy. So, like, after about, I'm not sure how long this lasted. Might have been for 3 months, 6 months. And then the next thing you know, he was gone. Because I think I did meet a guy. And so I don't know if the guy over me ran him away or the guy that I had met ran him away. And the next thing you know, he was gone. And I guess y'all's dad moved back, uh, back to where, we're from. said, y'all, I got one heck of a story. So by 97, that's when my grandmother had passed. And I think that's when I started using cocaine. I had met this dude, and he was using, and then he introduced cocaine to me. Now this is when it gets real. This is when it starts getting really ugly. So by that time, when I started on that cocaine, I was just gone after that. Like, I can't believe I can just sit here and talk about this in front of the whole world, but I have to get this out. Man, me and this dude started, he was using, and at first I wasn't using. He would go in my restroom and be in there for like 30 minutes or so. And me and him, this dude, were seeing each other probably for a good, I don't even remember, like, and I think when I hooked up with this dude, I don't know if we messed around the first night, but we didn't know each other that long. And the next thing you know, I was sleeping with this dude, and he was coming around, and he was the one. And I had forgotten this dude's name. I can picture him in my head. Oh no, I do know his name. And I'm not going to say it. Because like I said, for privacy reasons. Me and him started using, well, I started using with him. And I don't know if you have used it before, Sabrina, Victoria, or Trina. You know, cocaine. When you using it, I don't know if you've ever been around people that have. You don't care about nothing or no one. Nothing. And I think y'all already know what people do when they on cocaine, okay? You know, I was doing, after I was on it for a couple years or so, I was doing any and everything to get it. Selling my body for it. Just running the streets. Well, the selling my body part didn't start till I think after like let me see, my clean day is 32, so I wasn't even on it that long. Like when I moved to the other city, I was only there probably like maybe a year. So I remember, I had been only there for probably about a year, maybe 2 years at the most. And then I ended up moving back to my hometown. But like I said, I was just doing any and everything for it. So I was pretty much strung out after the second year. It really didn't take that long. I was pretty much strung out after the first year and a half I was on it. Yeah. It don't take you that long to get strung out on cocaine, especially if you're misusing it. So I remember, like, it didn't take that long. I'm gonna say I was pretty much strung out after about 2 years I was using. Okay. Okay, so by the age of 28, I was pretty much strung out. And then what happened was I had got into some trouble when I was in that, the other city. And I'm just going to say this, and I'm not going to really go into detail, like I said, for privacy reasons. But I came this close to death. Like, that was the first time I came this close to death. Because I was hanging around, these dope boys. And like I said, I'm not going to really go into it or say much about it. But before I took off, these people literally wanted to kill me. Okay? Because I think it was probably, I wanted to get out. I was letting them. I had like 2 places when I lived in the other city, and then by the time I moved away and moved back to my hometown, I had probably like 2 places. But I was still working. But I was still like, doing it and everything to get it also. I was stealing, stealing from the work company, stealing money. Because I would always have, cashiering positions. And then one job I had a key 3 position where the lady that was over me would let me, you know, deposit money in the bank when my shift was over with. And I remember I would have these good jobs, when I moved to the other city from 26 to 28 or so. And I would have these good jobs and everything, but I was stealing from the company though. And I remember this, and God, excuse me, I'm trying to do my nails, but I think I'm pretty much done with, adding the nails. I mean, I'm just, forgive me for talking so slow, people, but I'm trying to, I'm talking slow because I don't want to leave too much out. My mouth is getting dry, people. But yeah, so I mean, I think y'all know, what the dangers are, using drugs. And when people are on drugs like that, they'll do any and everything just to get alcohol. But when you're on that hard stuff like cocaine, crack, okay, when you're on that, you're going to do whatever when you start getting, strung out on it, you're going to do any and everything to get it. And that's what I was doing. I'm just keeping it real. Like I said, if I want to share my story, I got to keep it honest, and I got to keep it real. Because you know why? I try to be honest as I can. And right now, I'm speaking to Sabrina now, my daughter out there. Because I know that you drinking. I don't know if you're using any hard drugs, girlfriend, but I hope you get some help. Because I don't want you to go down the same road I went down. See, you know what? I'm going to pause right there at 28, all right? And then I'm going to go back into, oh, wait a minute, y'all. I got to cut this clip because it's ran into 19 minutes. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Right back.